What's up guys, my name is David and welcome back to the channel. On here we talk about all things film and pop culture related media, so if that sounds interesting to you, make sure you consider subscribing. Zack Snyder's Justice League is a real movie that exists and it's glorious. This video will be broken into many parts and the chapter times for those parts will be in the description. As far as spoilers go, if you haven't seen the movie, I don't recommend watching this video. There will be an actual spoiler section, but just little lines and moments that you probably want to see for the first time will be discussed in this video. However, if you need some motivation to watch this 4-hour-long movie and don't care about spoilers that much, then sure, stick around. With all of that being said, let's get into talking about Zack Snyder's Justice League. First, let's talk about the background of this film, how it got made, why it got made, the difference between this movie and the 2017 version, and my background with Zack Snyder, my personal opinions on his movies. So Zack Snyder set out to make this grand, epic, 4-hour-long Justice League movie, but because his other movies, Man of Steel and BVS, weren't beloved by critics and fans at the time, Warner Brothers kept putting restrictions on him, then tragedy struck with the death of his daughter Autumn. Zack stepped down from the project, Warner Brothers brought in Joss Whedon, director of the Avengers film, and the movie became a hollow, ugly zombie of a film. This led to one of the greatest fan movements of all time, hashtag release the Snyder Cut. Cut to March 18th, 2021, the Snyder Cut is a real movie that exists and is streaming on HBO Max. Now this movie is not just a director's cut or an ultimate edition, it is fundamentally a different movie. It has the same bullet and blueprint of the 2017 version, but everything that makes a good movie is present in this one and not in the 2017 Justice League. Usually I'm a very film is subjective kind of guy, and if you didn't enjoy this movie, that is totally fine, but to say that this movie is just a longer version of the 2017 version is just wrong. It is just completely wrong, because that is ignoring everything that makes a good movie a good movie. Just think about any great movie you love and imagine the hell that this movie went through. It would be a completely different movie and most likely very bad. As far as my personal opinion on this whole movement and Zack Snyder as a filmmaker, one, I was always like supporting the movement. I always wanted to see, extended good Justice League movie. And I also really love Man of Steel and Batman vs. Superman. They're two of my favorite movies ever. I've seen BVS Ultimate Edition like 6 times, that's ridiculous. However, I don't consider myself like a Snyder cultist or shill, I'm just an enjoyer of his movies. It's not the way that I'm a Star Wars fan or a Marvel fan or a DC fan. I enjoy comic book media, and Zack Snyder's interpretation of comic book media is something that I enjoy. But it's not like a main characteristic of my movie-loving personality. Overall, I love Zack Snyder as a person and as a filmmaker. I think his films are really exciting and have a unique style. And I say all of this because now we go into my initial thoughts. When the credits rolled, I thought, yeah, that is pretty much what I was expecting. A meticulously crafted 4-hour-long epic that I thoroughly enjoyed. A solid 8.5 in my book. I still enjoy his other 2 movies more, but still really, really good. There was a part of me that was underwhelmed, and that was because for the last 4 days, all I was hearing were these glowing reviews from critics and my fellow critic friends. There was this sense of shock in each review I watched. I'm just thinking, what could possibly be happening in this movie? And what surprised me the most was non-Snyder fans were loving this movie. People who don't really like the comic book movie genre were going crazy for this movie. People whose hobby is bashing on Endgame were going crazy for this movie. So my mind started spinning and just coming up with theories of what could possibly be happening in this movie. Does Batman die? Do Batman and Joker team up to kill Superman? In hindsight, I should have had more faith in Zack and just realized what was bringing people over was Snyder's brilliant storytelling. Like I wrote in my first Letterboxd review, it's not like I was screaming, oh my god, no way. It's just like, that's cool and so much better than 2017. So for those reasons, my initial reaction was a bit more subdued to where I am now. Now I'm going crazy for the movie. Don't get me wrong, I still loved it when I first watched it. It just wasn't like the Endgame level of hype where I was just going crazy for the entire 3 hours. Before I continue to gush about everything else that is great about this movie, let's talk about the negatives because there are a few. The plot is very generic, but everything surrounding it is filled with so much depth and care that it easily makes up for it. When you boil it down, Steppenwolf still is, a bad guy who wants to destroy Earth because he's bad. They give him some nuance and depth. I don't think he's a great villain now. I just heard if people were calling him a great villain. He's no Vader, Voldemort, Joker, or Thanos. He's just an okay villain. Who, yes, is far better than 2017 version, but, not great. Darkseid does not do much, which is kind of disappointing. He's a presence throughout the entire movie. You feel his presence, but it's not like he actually has that much screen time. Which is very unfortunate because he looks awesome. The CGI can be hit or miss sometimes, especially in wide slow-mo shots. You can tell, like, that's not the real person. It doesn't really bother me, but it is there. Did the movie need to be 4 hours long? No, but I mean, if you're gonna release the Snyder Cut, release the Snyder Cut. Women singing to Aquaman and all. There's the occasional bad line or performance, but overall, this is a meticulously crafted epic that I love. Moving on to the positives, the first thing I want to talk about is the storytelling. In this review, I've called this movie a meticulously crafted epic, and it truly is. This isn't me memeing or like when people call Spider-Man 3 and Venom cinema. The size and scope of this movie combined with the solid writing and action grants it that title. I know some people are going to get really mad at this comparison, but kind of the way Lord of the Rings is a meticulously crafted epic. Scenes take their time, whether it's a breathtaking action sequence or just characters talking. There is constant momentum, which makes the 4-hour runtime very manageable. Part of the great storytelling centers around these two legends. And of course, since they're the standout in this movie, we didn't cut out everything that made them the standout. Let's talk about The Flash first. If you don't know, The Flash on most days is my favorite superhero. I have not been huge on the Ezra Miller casting. I feel like he's too jokey, but more than anything in Justice League, he was simply a joke. I love quirky and fun superheroes. I mean, my favorite MCU movie is literally Guardians of the Galaxy, and my favorite non-Snyder DCU movie is Birds of Prey, so I am fine with quirky and fun superheroes. But having great characters only be the butt of a joke and have their grand heroic thing be pushing a car, that's when I draw the line. So I was more than thrilled to find out that he is still a fun and quirky character, yet very, very heroic. Barry's relationship with his father is expanded so much more. Henry's job scene near the end of the movie is literally one of my favorite scenes in the entire film. Here's a spoiler alert, so go over to the Cyborg section if you don't want to be spoiled. But oh my god, the fact that Barry literally saved the entire universe in the visually stunning time travel sequence is literally what comic book movies are made for. And his little line of dialogue right before he does it, referencing a conversation earlier that he had with his father, "Your kid was one of the best," just, I love it. Moving on to Cyborg, like everyone is saying, he is truly the heart and soul of this movie. So is Barry, but still, Cyborg is the main heart and soul of this movie. Just like Barry and his father, the connection between Victor and his father is expanded so much more, and all it takes are just little lines, moments, and glances that make all the difference. One of my favorite scenes in the entire movie is when he is discovering his powers and helps this struggling single mother by putting $100,000 into her bank account. Her reaction and his reaction to her reaction is so beautiful, pure, and human, and just little moments like that make this film so special. Cyborg is once again the heart of this movie because he is truly the embodiment of the Justice League. He's a broken person, they're all broken people, and the completion of his character arc, and really all of the character arcs in this movie, but this line is so beautiful.
I'm not broken.
One thing that surprised me and is probably turning a lot of non-Snyder fans around is the hopeful tone of this movie. But the difference between this hopeful tone and the hopeful tone of, say, a Marvel movie or the 2017 Justice League is that this tone is actually earned. From the start of this movie, one, it starts with Batman vs. Superman, and it starts with Bruce on the quest he promised Clark. He is forming this team because he failed Superman. Compare that to the 2017 version where he starts to form the Justice League because plot convenience. And that's the power of a single vision. This tone feels earned, and that makes it more enjoyable. Justice League did not feel like an earned, hopeful tone. It felt like it was trying to copy a Marvel movie. And Marvel movies are great, don't get me wrong, they're very fun, but they have their own distinct tone that's not contrasting so insanely to literally Batman vs. Superman, which was a very dark political thriller. Also, just in general, a lighter tone is not only more fun to watch, it helps with the insanely long runtime. Okay, now we're gonna get into spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie, definitely leave now. But the first major spoiler moment that happens is Martian Manhunter is in this movie. I knew he was gonna be in this movie. I'm not sure if it's just like I read about it on Twitter, or was announced, or he's in a trailer. I didn't keep up with the trailers that much. However, his actual reveal is one of my legitimate complaints with the film. We have this beautiful conversation between Martha and Lois, and they're the only two people in the world that can relate to each other and share each other's grief. It's a beautiful scene, but it's cut short when we realize that was Martian Manhunter. It takes away from that very personal scene for a moment of, oh! Most of the spoiler stuff that's gonna warn those 15 minutes Justice League ending explained videos are basically glorified post-credit scenes. First, we have a longer version of the 2017 post-credit scene where Lex Luthor is talking to Deathstroke. Just like in the 2017 version, that was a cool scene, and here we learn that Deathstroke now knows Batman's identity, which is awesome. Because, you know, it's setting up that Ben Affleck solo Batman movie that we're definitely gonna get. It's so sad. And then we get to the nightmare sequences, the post-apocalyptic world where Superman turned evil because Lois died. I haven't played the Injustice games in a while, but I'm pretty sure that was the plot there. Let me just say, aesthetically, the Nightmare world looks amazing. The Nightmare Batsuit is literally my favorite live-action Batsuit, but then of course the main attraction of the scene is Joker. Jared Leto's Joker is back, and he is okay. He's just delivering some lines. I don't like his laugh. I don't like just the overall persona of this Joker. I don't hate him the way some people hate him. it's okay. I do love that he referenced Dead Robin. That's the first live-action Joker to ever do so. It's also the first live-action Joker to ever make 2 appearances, which is just hysterical that Jared Leto's Joker is making history. And then Bruce wakes up from this dream, he talks to Martian Manhunter, and that's when I feel like Martian Manhunter should have been revealed. But it is what it is. I will say, the last 30 minutes of the movie shouldn't really be considered these post-credit scenes because they're not a part of the Justice League movie. They're post-credit scenes that were just kind of tacked on at the end. I'm conflicted on whether it should have been more at the end, so it's like, it's truly post-credit scenes instead of just like, oh, you know, we're setting up the movie, but we're gonna make it seem like the ending. I would have preferred if the ending was just this shot. Approaching the end of the video, I just wanted to kind of talk about some other stuff, like where does this movie rank in my DCU ranking, where does it compare to other movies, let's get into that. So as far as where it ranks in my DCEU ranking, it is either second or first. Like I said, I watched Batman vs Superman 6 times, I love that movie a lot. I'm definitely more obsessed with Zack Snyder's Justice League right now because, you know, it's fresh, it's new, the hype is there. But overall, I still think I just enjoy BVS a little bit more. But who knows, I could totally see it in a couple months taking the crown. I will be doing a ranking of my top 10 favorite comic movies with the inclusion of Zack Snyder's Justice League, so be on the lookout for that. As far as how it compares to other DC movies, you know, the Nolan trilogy, I still enjoy The Dark Knight and Batman Begins more than any of Snyder's work, just because, you know, it's Batman, it's special to me. As far as the big comparison that everybody wants to hear, which one do I like more, this movie or Endgame, I'm gonna have to give it to Endgame. This movie never had me on the edge of my seat the way Endgame had me. When Captain America, Iron Man, and Thor are fighting Thanos, it's just different from any of our Justice League members fighting Steppenwolf. It's just different emotion, different attachment. As far as quality goes, I really want to give it to Zack Snyder's Justice League. I do think it's just a little bit better, but personal enjoyment and attachment, I gotta give it to Endgame. Comparisons aside, Zack Snyder's Justice League is absolutely, positively as amazing as Toby. And there you guys have it. That is my review, or just gushing thoughts about Zack Snyder's Justice League. It is a 4-hour-long movie. I know for a fact I missed a lot of main key points and epic moments that I surely wanted to talk about. So I apologize about that, but I just wanted to get a video out exploring my overall thoughts with this film. I also apologize for having this video out later than usual. I've just been very busy. But with all that being said, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then you absolutely will enjoy this channel, so subscribe if you haven't already. That is all I got for today, guys. I will see you in the next video. The Force with you.